So I only have a few things to talk about this morning, and one of them, and I was going to incorporate the kicking story, and I will still incorporate it. But so the first question I want to ask everybody, right? How many of you believe that you are in sales? Now you don't have to answer that to me, but I want you to answer that to yourself. I mean, if you think that, like, well, I'm a consultant and all that kind of stuff, well, yeah, we are consultants, okay, but that's operations, right? So all businesses have two two departments, right? um, they you have a sales operation, and I mean, you have a sales department and you have operations, right? Operations is the job that we actually do, but sales is what gets you clients to do operations with, right? So you can't be a consultant without sales. You have to have a sales department to survive in this business. I mean, those of you without a broker's license, what does the government say you're in? The government says you're a sales agent, right? And even if you hold a broker's license, you're just an associate broker, which is essentially is the same thing as a sales agent, unless you flip it to a principal, right? So so you're a sales agent, you're in the sales business, right? So yes, we service our clients, but sales gets us clients, right? And so, and when I say sales, I don't mean, the first thing usually comes to mind, some guy in blue suede shoes saying, what's it going to take to put you in that car, right? I mean, that's not what sales is. Sales is just asking a series of questions that leads people to a decision. And no is so that it's a win-win. And if they're not interested in buying or selling or investing, then the answer is no, and that's okay. That's a win. So we figured it out. They're not moving. They're not buying. That's okay. Our job is to look for people that are moving, right? And that really have to move, and then have enough motivation to get through the pain of moving, which we all know moving is such a pain, right? So does that make sense? You got to have a sales force. I mean, so you got to, so number one focus is sales, because again, without sales, there are no clients, right? You could be the greatest real estate agent on earth. You could have a degree in financing. You could be a master appraiser, and have a 20 years of home inspection background, and on paper you make the greatest agent in the world, but if you're not out there generating business, you suck. I mean, it's just that simple. You suck because you don't have any business. So you gotta, your number one focus has to be on getting new business all the time. If you talk to people, if they're not interested, that's fine. That if they're not moving, they're not moving. There's nothing you could do to cause people to move. You just have to find people that are moving. That's it. That's like your number one job is to find people that are moving. So think about it. This is Monday morning, right? Now let's say I'm going to challenge everybody here. So by Friday evening at 5:00, you all should be able to find one person that has to move or really wants to sell their house, right? I mean, again, because we're looking for super motivated. We're not, if you can get me more than my house is worth, maybe I'll sell it type of thing. We're not interested in people like that. We're interested in people that, what would happen if the house didn't sell? Well, and then I won't sell it. No. That's not what we want to hear. So we want the people that say, what would happen if your house didn't sell? They go, well, no, it's going to sell. That's what we want to hear. So that's our number one job, is to find those people, right? And then what is it that you do to do it? You got to create the morning habits. And so looking for people to buy and sell real estate, it's just another habit. It's like working out, going to the gym, changing your morning routine. And you're not going to start out with, if you haven't done, if you haven't sat down and done 2 hours of prospecting on a daily basis, okay, the odds are great that you're not going to do it your first day. And that's okay. Get a half hour in, get 40 minutes in, get an hour in. But every day you got to be consistent. Every day you got to do it. So every day you got to do it. Every day you got to do it until it just becomes such a habit that that's all you do. But here's the thing: you have to set yourself up to be able to do it, right? Let's not, let's set ourselves up. So, what about your environment? So, think about your environment. Is your environment conducive to lead generation? Meaning, do you have like an area that you can work at where you can actually stand up and talk on the phone? Do you have a headset? I mean, go out and buy a $25 headset you can plug into your phone, a $20 headset if you want. Plug it in your phone. Use a headset so that you can stand up and you can have energy when you're on the phone talking to people, right? Have all your numbers printed out prior to, have them ready to go at the end of the day. So, at the end of the day is when you should prepare for tomorrow's calling, right? So does that make sense? So you want to set it up to where it would be hard to fail. So don't make it easy to succeed, right? And the way to do that is that we like doing the busy things. So do the busy things in the afternoon when it's when you're done your prime time. So then prepare a list for tomorrow. I'm going to call these people. I'm going to use these leads. How many people here have and you can instant message or say it, shout it out, whatever. How many people here have a lead follow-up system? So in other words, somebody says, I'm considering moving, but I'm not going to be moving for 2 months. What happened? What do you do with that person? Let's hear what some of you have to say. Hello?
I would think you'd have to keep following up with them on a weekly basis, right?
Right. At minimum, right? So it depends on what it is, and we're going to talk about that in some of our upcoming classes. We have a class coming up soon, but yeah, it depends on how far out they're going to move. If they're not moving for a year, but if you know they're moving in a year, then obviously just throw them on your SOI mailing list, right? And then now they're getting your monthly postcard. Then but what about, how many people use a calendar? If someone says, call me in a week, what do? Do you put it on, do you write it on a sheet of paper and pray to God that piece of paper shows up the day you're supposed to call them? Do you use a planner? Do you have, for me, it's in my calendar. If it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist. It's just that simple. So, and that's why I tell people, if you want something from me, email it. And then if it's something that's going to happen in the future, then I just add it to my calendar and then it'll get done. But that's how I live, So if somebody says, call me in a week, I open up my calendar and I put their name and number in the subject line. So I don't even have to go look it up. And if it's on my phone, especially if you have their name and number in the subject line, then all you have to do literally is open up the calendar event in your phone, tap on their number, and you're calling them. You don't have to even look it up. You just open your phone and hit tap, and then there you are. So, so I'm curious. So just, get in the habit of using your calendar. It's funny. I hear people all the time, like I'll see on Facebook, what kind of app do you guys use for reminders and things like that? And I'll always comment and I'll always write the same comment. You mean a calendar? It's like question mark. It's like, what are you looking for? You already have one of the best calendar apps out there, in my opinion. It's called Gmail Calendar. Put it down. You can have, and all you need to do is just put a 5-minute reminder on there, so it'll pop up, send you a text message. I think they're doing away with text, but it'll pop up or on your phone or your computer screen or both, or it'll send you an email. Right? And the email will have the calendar event.
I use my CRM.
What's that?
I said I use my CRM.
Yeah, if you have a CRM, that's great. Most people, in my opinion, if you're running just a simple SOI business, Gmail's fine. Because CRMs are good for web leads that are coming in, where you have, let's say you have a 25 email campaign that's going to go out. And then every time somebody joins up, you're going to assign that 25 email campaign to them. But your SOI, it doesn't work that way. Your SOI, whatever you're sending out every month, if somebody joins in this month, they just get on the bus wherever the bus is. where that's a totally different, SOI business. So but web leads are, if you're chasing web leads, then, a good CRM is imperative because they all come in at different time of day or night, and they all have different wants and needs, and you have to have a way of following up with them. So, but an SOI, you just put them in a calendar. I mean, if someone says, call me on this date, then you enter the date on the calendar. I mean, it doesn't get any simpler than that. So, but in the future, we have classes coming up. We're going to talk about different types of leads and how to follow up. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Charles.
Oh, I was just going to say, I also, if it's somebody that I really haven't, not in my sphere so much, but somebody else, I usually cut whatever time frame they tell me in half and start bothering them at that point in time, unless, if they say, oh, we're going to buy in 2 months, in a month, I'm starting to follow up with them again.
Absolutely. If they say 2 weeks, you call them in a week. I totally agree with that. I would rather lose the sale because I was too assertive than lose the sale because I was too passive. I mean, pick your poison, right? So, and remember, here's the thing. Your motivated people are not annoyed by an assertive person. They're just not. Now, pushy and aggressive, I mean, aggressive is, that can go a couple ways. Aggressive means just, I like the word assertive, you are asserting yourself into the process where you're calling them up. When somebody's highly motivated and they need to sell their home, trust me, an aggressive salesperson is sweet music. When the only time you're annoying to someone is when they're not motivated and they're not interested in your product or service. That's when they're annoyed, right? I mean, seriously, to think about that. And then you'll find out if you're too aggressive, they'll tell you, hey, don't call me anymore. And you're like, okay, great, take them off the list. So whatever it is. But the thing is, you've got to create the habit, and the habits we talked about the coaching. So we had the coaching call last Wednesday. That was for, instead of individual calls, we talked about the two major time blocks, right? The first time block is your morning routine of getting ready, and that's different for everybody. So I want to reiterate that. That's getting up in the morning. That's doing whatever it is. You journal, prayer, meditation, exercise, breakfast, shower, all that. That's all part of a morning routine. Then your second time block is income generating activities, right? Right. Sending out cards, handwritten cards every day. I mean, how many people, think about it. If you send out 3 handwritten cards every day, that's 200 a quarter, right? That's, if you call 3 people, that's 200 a quarter. So you literally can have a 200-person database, and you could talk to each one of them once a quarter, and you could send each one of them a handwritten card once a quarter, and then send them a postcard every month. You will get referrals. You will get referrals. But the key, what exponentially grows your referral-based business is the phone calls, right? So the handwritten card, the postcards every month, those are designed to keep you front and center between phone calls. Do you get that? Those are for between phone calls. Those are not instead of phone calls, right? Everybody thinks everything else is instead of phone calls. No, those are to supplement phone calls. This is a prospecting-based business that is marketing enhanced. And especially as we start to soften a little bit and things start to slow down, prices are slowing down, homes are going to take a little longer to sit on the market, you have to do more prospecting than marketing. People are going to, because there's going to be a lot of people doing marketing. And the cool part is there's going to be a lot of people leaving the business. And between you and I can't wait. I'm excited for them to leave the business. You can get lock boxes cheap. You can get other things off of them that, 60, 80 cents on the dollar. I mean, heck, I'd pay you 80 cents on the dollar for their lockbox. It's hardly used, right? So it's still shiny. So anyway, but the thing is, those that are actually talking to people, you've got to be able to talk to people. The whole goal is to get them on the phone, right? Our number one job. This is what I have written down. Here's my notes right here. I'll show you my notes on the screen. Our number one job is looking for people that have to move or sell, right? Not everybody that's selling is moving. Like Richard is so proud of Richard. I don't even think he's on the call today, and I get to give him the kudos, give him the love. He just listed a nice 1 acre commercial of land out on like 90th South on West Jordan. He's got a, so anyway, he's got a 1 acre lot for sale. I mean, so obviously they're not moving, but they're selling a property, and supposedly this family owns a lot of property all over. So good for him, So not everybody that's selling has to move. So anyway, so we're looking for people to have to move or sell, right? For whatever reason, it doesn't matter. That's our job is to look for them. Right on social media, remember on social media, social media is good for listening, right? So one of the things I tell people is to put your SOI in a friends list, right? And then once you have once you tag all your people in your friends list, then you're able to go into your list, right? And then click on the link, and it'll show you all the posts of just that list. So once you have that page open that shows you a post of just that list, then what I want you to do is I want you to bookmark that page. So tomorrow, you can just open up that bookmark and read just your SOIs. You can read what they're posting and what we're doing. So while you're doing that, you're listening for reasons people move, right? So people move, right? Why do people move? Because, you got death, divorce, debt, right? I mean, you got, the 3 Ds, death, divorce, and debt. And then you got, got a job, lost a job, getting married, getting divorced. So if you're constantly monitoring your friends' Facebook streams, you can listen for the conversation that is going to cause a major life event is coming up, right? Hey, my husband just got this new job. Hey, and she's so excited, right? You should be on the phone going, hey, congratulations on the new job. So is the job here locally, or are you moving out of town? Is it a big raise? You guys want to sell this house and buy a bigger one, right? I mean, listen for what thing. Somebody's status went from, it changed to whatever. It's complicated, right? So then, man, you got to be on the phone there. Things like just got engaged. There's another one. Get on the phone with them, right? You started noticing things like that. You need to start paying attention because people move because of major life events. And people put the laundry that people put out on Facebook is mind-boggling. I don't share any of that stuff, my dirty laundry. I don't share my clean laundry hardly at all. So, but the point is, if you just monitor your friends, and I don't mean you're just normal stream that Facebook is showing you. I'm talking about tag your friends in a list and then open that list up and then bookmark that list so you can follow that group of people and monitor their activities and see what's going on in their life, right? And that's it. Because and then you can get on the phone and call them. Like this morning I saw on our somebody posted and said, hey, I scheduled an open house for Saturday. I have a conflict. They said, what do you think, Sunday's a good time? And one of the agents said, well, Sunday's good, but not as busy. I would be happy to do it for you, PM. So it was one of our PM me or whatever, it was one of my agents, one of our agents. So I actually sent a text message to our agent and said, call that agent up. The first one that calls that agent is going to get the open house on Saturday. Not hoping. Don't be, when people, it's funny when agents and Wasatch Front agents will say, hey, what do you like about your broker? And everybody else has gone, oh, my broker this, my broker that. I'm on the phone. I'm calling them up. When I hear somebody say something like that, what that means is they're starting to shop for a broker, right? So I'm listening, I'm paying attention to what people are saying because I'm hearing I'm hearing things that could cause them to be moving brokerages. A little different than the things that would cause them to move home, but the process is still the same. I'm paying attention to what they're saying. So it's very, very important to do a lot of listening on social media. I mean, it's good to post ads and things like that for lead generation, but listening is very, very important, right? So just make that part of your morning routine, right? Get up every day. You do your income generating activities. How about your handwrite three handwritten cards and mail them out, right? Call 3 people up. Hey, how's it going? Hadn't heard from you in a while. Anything new and exciting in your world? How's the wife? How's the kids? How's the job? Blah, 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 blah. By the way, if you know anybody that's considered, somebody you know is considering buying or selling or investing in real estate, would you refer them to me? Yeah, So, but just have that basic conversation, and then how about send out 3 text messages every day? Hey, I have a lovely family that I'm trying to find a home for. Who do you know that's considering selling? Don't bulk text that, because what if 25, 30 people respond if you do a bulk text? That's a little tough to handle. So just do a call. But if you did 3 text messages a day, 3 phone calls a day, 3 handwritten cards a day, I mean, that right there is 45 minutes. I mean, no more than 45 minutes. Just start off with that, and then work your way up, and then to work your way up into calling other people. Work your way up into maybe popping by and visiting people, and bring a little gift, right? A refrigerator magnet with your business card in there. It's a letter opener to just stop by and say, hey, how's it? I just, was in the area. And you call them up, just say, hey, I was going to be in the area. If you're home, I was just going to stop by and say hi. Even if, just stop in and say hi, whatever, How about let's get together for coffee, soda, ice cream, whatever the appropriate beverage may be for that particular audience. So, meet with them and do the same thing. Hey, how's the wife? How's the kids? How's the job? Blah, 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 blah. By the way, who do you know, right? So, but you just bring it up in natural conversation. But you got to do it every day, right? Nobody gets in shape. You don't prospect one day for 4 hours, or you don't go to the gym one day for 4 hours. You go to the gym every day for 40 minutes, right? It's the same thing. It's the day in and day out, day in and day out, day in and day out. I can't put enough emphasis on that. So, any other thoughts, questions, or concerns? So if not, we're going to go ahead and end this call, and I will post a recording on Facebook. So on Facebook, on our Facebook page, we have a link that says that are the productive agent calls, right? And so that is a playlist, and I always add the latest call. So when I record the latest call, I upload it to YouTube, and then I add it to that playlist. So so if you ever all our productive agent group calls are on that or in that playlist, so you don't have to keep looking for individual videos. Just go to the playlist, and then each one is dated. They're named by date. So just remember that. So anyway, also I posted a nice Mike Ferry video about he calls it pre-qualifying. Oh, speaking of which, Mike Ferry, before we go real quick, in March there's a productivity school going to be here in Salt Lake City somewhere. I've been on the phone with Mike Ferry's office, and because they didn't have a date, they didn't have a place listed yet, and I sent them the information for Larry Miller Conference Center, because they always have it some downtown hotel, which is always a pain in the butt. For some, obviously it's easy to get to, but downtown's just a pain, driving, parking, all that. Where Sandy, the Miller Conference Center. So anyway, they haven't announced the place yet. And but it's a 4-day school, and it is, and in my opinion, if you want to take your career to a higher level, that is the one to go to. That is the boot camp of all the scripts and dialogues. You're going to learn every script. You're going to go through each script and dialogue. Now, I don't care if you only use one of those scripts and dialogues. Going to this class is so important. When I was in basic training in the Army, we went through so many different things. The tear gas. We go in the tear gas room, right? They put you in this cement room, and then they got tear gas in there, and then you take your mask off. You have to say your name, rank, serial number, right? Now, I never had experienced tear gas from that day on, but I went through the training. I went through a lot of training. I was prepared. In other words, if I ever got hit with tear gas, I knew that I wasn't going to die. I knew that what I had to do to clear my lungs if I got a lung full of tear gas, things like that. We did so many different things in the training that because I was being trained to be a warrior, but because I was in peacetime, I never got to use any of it, which is, thank goodness, right? But the point is, you train a lot of the things that I learned to train there. I use now. It's just a discipline. So I would encourage everyone on this phone call. I think it's $350 or something like that, at $395. But if we get 10 people to pay at one time, so in other words, and I'm going to post it on Facebook too. But if we get 10 people, we get $100 off each. But it's not that 10 people to go. 10 people have to pay with one card. So I would collect from everybody, and then I would make a one-time payment. So in other words, they'll give you $100 off if I have one person paying for 10 people. So I plan to go, and I've been to this class at least a half a dozen times. The first time I went to the class was in April of 1998. And I've been to this class a half a dozen times. I've actually listened to it. We have a tape on our website, and I've listened to that at least 2 times, right? So that class, it is designed, it is the basic fundamentals of sales. And I'm here to tell you, every one of you, don't make excuses. Figure out how to get there. Just make it happen. Make it happen. It's going to be tough on my calendar too, but I'm just going to make it happen. So anyway, I'm going to end with that unless anybody has any questions, thoughts, concerns, or hallucinations. The dates, I don't know. It's March. I think it's like the week of the 13th. They don't even have the exact dates nailed down. Usually it's like a Tuesday through Friday or a Monday through Thursday. It's a 4-day event. The last day is usually kind of short, but it's an all-day event. So, but I promise you, it'll change your life. If you go through this, it'll take your career to a higher level in ways you never dreamed possible. So it'll get anybody that's ever reluctant to make the phone calls, this will cure it. So anyway, that's all I got. So unless you have questions or anything, I'm going to take off and then get on the phone and make my recruiting calls. Awesome. See you guys.
Thanks, Carl.